Generational curse breakers that are growing in the uncomfortable. This is Toya, and welcome to Healthy Talks and Walks with Toya. Today we're going to be talking about growing intentionally utilizing SMART goals. So, as I said, one of the things we're going to be talking about today are SMART goals. One of my goals this year is to grow intentionally. I think sometimes people think that you can just grow and be comfortable, but you will never get strong if you only lift a certain amount of weight. You always have to have some counter resistance in order to really stretch that muscle. Also too, you will never lose weight if you don't be calorie deficient. You cannot grow without just putting things in place to actually grow. So I want to talk about how do we get there. One of the acronyms that I'm going to be using this year called SMART goals. All right, stay tuned. So as I said, one of the acronyms that I'm using this year to help with my intentional growth is SMART goals. So what are SMART goals? So I did a little bit of research me Google. SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Again, I'll say that again. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Okay, so you want to make sure your goals are specific. What exactly is it that you're trying to accomplish? How would you measure that you're actually reaching these goals? Are they achievable? Can you actually do it, right? Are they realistic? This is one of the bigger things to me. Is it real? Because if it's not real, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay, and is it timely? Giving yourself a realistic timeline. Something that's a little bit challenging, but it's not so challenging that it sets you up for failure. Okay. So one of my goals that I had this year thus far was to do in 28 days to do 100 miles in 28 days in the month of February, right? So with that, what the specific goal was, the S was to do 100 miles in 28 days. Measurable. I was able to measure. Was I able to do that by, knocking out the miles and actually counting them, having an accountability partner? If it's weight loss, get it on a scale. This is your metric system almost of how you're going to measure your goal. The next thing, was it achievable? Is that something that I can do, And yes, it was something that was obtainable. And realistic. I feel like achievable and realistic sort of go hand in hand. Is what I'm asking of myself realistic? I can't say run 1,000 miles in so many days, because if I break that down, will I be able to do that? If it's not realistic, it's going to be very counterproductive to you growing, okay? Because it sets up in your mind a mentality that we're just going to make stuff so far out of the realm of actually being done that when it comes to hard things or actually accomplishing things, you won't do it because your mind goes back to those unrealistic things. And then a timely fashion. So having a healthy timeline. I didn't say I could do 100 miles in 2 weeks, but in 28 days, that's achievable. So what I did was I broke down how many miles I would have to do a day if I actually did the exercise every day. It was 3.5 miles a day in order to achieve 100 miles in 28 days. So I knew I would have to push myself to get up in the morning. I would have to push myself to make at least 3.5 miles. And then some days where I didn't want to do it, I knew on other days I would have to make that up. So what I did was I pretty much pushed myself. I woke up at 5:45, not 5:45, actually 4:45. I left my house by 5:15 so I could make it to work in time to do at least 3 miles. And then on lunchtime, I would come back in because I have a gym at work and I would do a mile or so. I'm not saying that you have to do all of these things. I'm just saying how I was able to achieve my 100 miles. So I want to encourage you. This is the first of the month, right? It's the 1st of March. Write down your goals. Get your SMART goal acronym. Is it specific? You don't want to have some blanket thing that you can't even figure out what the goal is because it's so much stuff. Get a specific thing. Figure out your measurement, your metric system, so to speak, of how am I going to measure this? Am I going to have an accountability partner? Is this partner someone that I respect? So when they remind me, I actually do it. If it's weight loss, am I going to get on a scale? How often am I going to get on a scale? Because sometimes checking in too quick, we can be fooled by a bad day that we're not making progress, and that's not true. Okay. And then, is it achievable? Is this something that I can obtain? Okay. If it's something that you can obtain, okay, that's good. That's a check. Is it real? Is it realistic? Again, realistic goals, okay? Unrealistic goals are counterproductive, and it just produces a thing when you have adversity, when something gets hard to quit. Okay, the next thing is timely, giving yourself a realistic time frame. So I say it's the 1st of March. Let's give ourselves some monthly goals. This month, my goal is to make sure I stay active, that I don't just fall off because I've reached the 100 miles in 28 days. So what are your goals for this month of March? All right, so listen, check in with me. Let me know, what are some of your SMART goals? And let's hold each other accountable. If you need help with accountability, I am a life coach. Reach out to me for consults. I do free consults. And I don't mind encouraging you guys. But I need you to reach out to me. My link is in the bio. I have my email address in there, so you can email me for a consult. Or you can just write back on the thing down there. Okay? All right, like I told you guys, all my stuff ain't gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna bring it to you with all the energy, how I feel it. Okay, so let's get out there and grow intentionally, folks, using our SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Let's be successful, folks. This is Toya signing out. Oh man, I thought I cut the camera off. Jeez.